you a question.
What the hell you want to ask me? Mr. Wiki is the one you got the questions for.
How come you ain't never liked me?
Liked you? Who in the hell ever said, I got to like you? What law is there to say, I got to like you? Do you want to stand up in my face and ask me some damn fool-ass question like that? Talking about liking somebody. Come here, boy, when I talk to you. Straighten up, goddammit. Ask your question. What law is there to say, I got to like you?
None.
All right, then. Don't you eat every day? Answer me when I talk to you. Don't you eat every day?
Yeah.
Nigga, as long as you living in my house, you put a sir on the end of it when you talk to me.
Yes, sir.
You eat every day.
Yes, sir.
Got a roof over your head.
Yes, sir.
And clothes on your back.
Yes, sir.
Why do you think that is?
Because of you.
Hell, I know it's because of me. Why do you think that is?
Because you like me.
Like you. I go out of here every morning and bust my butt putting up with them crackers all day long because I like you. You is the biggest fool I ever saw. It is my job. It is my responsibility. You understand that? A man got to take care of his family. You live in my house. You sleep your behind on my bedclothes. You put my food in your belly because you are my son. You are my flesh and blood, not because I like you. It is my duty to take care of you. I owe a responsibility to you. Wait now. Let's get this straight right now. We'll go along any further. I ain't got to like you. Mr. Rand, don't give me my money come payday because he liked me. He give me because he owe me. Now, I didn't give you everything I had to give you. I gave you your life. Your mama and me worked it out between us. And liking your black ass was not a part of the bargain, and don't you try and go through life worried if somebody like you or not. You best make sure that they are doing right by you. You understand what I'm saying, boy?
Yes, sir.
Then you get the hell out of my face and go on down to the A&P.
That was a great performance from the late, great James Earl Jones from the play Fences. Now, Denzel Washington did that same performance on the screen for Fences. If you've never seen Fences, I definitely recommend it. August Wilson. I come back now. I took a little break off of YouTube, and then I come back and this happens. We lose another legend, another great in the form of James Earl Jones. Now, for most people, especially us in the geek community, they will only have known him from two major projects, mostly. Star Wars, of course, and The Lion King, both voicing very iconic characters. There was something about Mr. Jones's voice that just captivated us. And that's just for some people. Now, most people who are fans will also have followed this man's career, whether they have followed him on stage, because he was doing a lot of plays. Even now, he was still active in the Broadway scene prior to him passing away. But of course, from Field of Dreams to playing King Jaffe in Coming to America, he was Mr. He had the great cameo in The Sandlot. I love The Sandlot, but that one scene at the end with him cameo as the owner of Hercules, or the big bull mastiff that they called the Beast. You know, he's done so much more than just Star Wars and Lion King. And I think for most, that's what people always strictly remember him for. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's not. But he was more than just that, and he was a talented actor. And the reason why I bring that up is because they kind of played that up in what's the Big Bang Theory, which I never really watched Big Bang Theory. I wasn't a big fan of it until that one episode. I watched that one episode where James Earl Jones guest starred along with the late Carrie Fisher, and that's the only episode I really love. I've watched that episode religiously, like, because it's funny, but it also plays up what I just talked about, how even in that, he was sitting at a table, he sees Sheldon, and he says, let me guess, you like Star Wars, and Sheldon's just shaking his head, and he's like, I've done other roles, other movies, and he said, but you don't care about those, do you? I got one thing to say to people like you. And you think, oh, he's gonna flip out, but I like Star Wars too. Care to join me? It's the funniest thing, and I love what he does to Carrie Fisher. He plays Ding Dong Ditch with Carrie Fisher, which is the funniest thing. But having said that, yes, we have lost a great. Instead of mourning him in such a way that will bring tears to your eyes, I rather just express myself better and just saying thank you to Mr. Jones. My heart does go out to the Jones family, and to hear that he was surrounded by family when he passed, that's cool to me. That's cool. When you're surrounded by the people that love you and your family members, and to watch you ascend to the next higher plane, that's cool to me. That's cool. But Mr. James Earl Jones will always be in our hearts because he is such a legend, and legends never die, right? They never die. That's how I feel about actors like Robin Williams. No matter what, he's always going to be around because there are going to be people like me and people out there like you that are always going to keep him in our hearts. I can go on and on about other actors we've lost, but this did hurt. It did hurt. It did hurt. It caught me off guard. I was hoping Mr. Jones would have made it to 100 years old. I was like, please let him make it. I'm trying to, hoping and praying that an actor that I loved or grew up watching will make it to that triple number. I think, I'm not going to say it because I don't want to wish anything, but yeah, there's someone else I think could make it. But I'm proud to have been able to see a lot of James Earl Jones's work, and even watch some of his early work, like from The Great White Hope, where he played Jack Johnson in that movie. That's when he was in his younger days, and seen some other things. I've seen a couple of his plays, like Fences. I've seen that, but he is missed. I love it so much because he's another actor you never heard anything bad coming out of his world. Like, you never seen some on a studio or so, or news report saying James Earl Jones got drunk again and he ended up striking his wife or something like that. When you hear stuff like that, it's like, yo, what's going on? Or James Earl Jones, this, or got into another DUI for James Earl. No, none of that. You never heard anything negative about this man, ever. And that's what I appreciate about him. My favorite roles of James Earl Jones, I loved him as King Joffrey from Coming to America, and I was glad that he was able to play him in both movies. Even though personally, I'll say this, I'm sorry, Eddie, but Coming to America didn't need a sequel. It didn't. It really didn't. But it was great to see him. And see him come back, and I love the man. I mean, he has some of the most illmatic scenes in that movie. To the point you like, there's a point in that movie, and I'll vividly remember because it's him and John Amos's character, Mr. McDowell, and they're in Mr. McDowell's house out in Queens, And James Earl Jones is basically belittling his daughter right in front of him. And he's just like, I remember the line so vividly. He's like, oh, come now, our son couldn't be mixed up with a girl like that. And John Amos like, now wait a minute. And he says, I know this has been a consequences to your. We'll settle this by up $200,000 American dollars. And he's like, no way. And he kept upping it. And he's like, you ain't got enough to buy my daughter off. And he's like, nonsense. And his wife, Queen Eleon, basically says, Joffrey, apologize to him. And he's like, I will do no such thing. The man is beneath me, and so is his daughter. And I'm like, this is James Earl Jones, but when he's saying it, it's like, yo, what the hell? Like, why is he? And then to the point where you're like, and I love John Amos's response. He's like, hey, this is America, Jack. Now you say one more thing about my daughter, I'm gonna put my foot up your royal ass. And I'm like, it's like, yeah. It was like King Joffrey was a mixture of, when he needed to get serious, he was Vader, and he was also, of course, he was, before he even got the role, but he was Mufasa. So he already was given a template of Mufasa before he even got that role. But for me, the first role that I ever saw Mr. Jones in, and this just will kind of date me, is him playing Thulsa Doom in Conan. That's my first experience I remember James Earl Jones. I don't remember him as Vader, because Star Wars and The Empire Strike Back, I think I was still too young, but I remember him as Thulsa Doom. When I did see him, I recognized the voice of Vader. I'm like, hey, I know that guy. I know that voice. That's Thulsa Doom. You know, so yeah, loved him in Field of Dreams. He gives a great performance in that. There's just so many roles that he's done that, as sad as I am, I'm also just like, his performance is captured. Not bad from a boy from Mississippi, right, who grew up in Michigan and who had a stuttering problem, which could have shunned his career, you know. And then there's also, like, and not just him, but his whole family. I mean, most people probably don't remember that his father was also kind of an actor too. The first time I actually seen his father was in a little horror film called Sleepaway Camp. His father was the cook, Ben, and I remember hearing that voice. I'm like, that voice sounds familiar. And then later on, you know, you'll find out as you get older. You find out, oh, that was his dad. Okay, cool. But you know, Mr. Jones will be missed. He will be missed, but not forgotten. And that's the point of this little tribute, is to just let people know that he's gone. He's ascended to a better world, because I do believe in the afterlife. But he'll never be forgotten. That's the point. And I love the outpour of fans from around the world that have given their respect and love to him. And it's not just him, you know, not just fans, but a lot of actors that have worked with him. And he was such a prominent figure, not just of Hollywood and the acting world, but also as an inspiration in Black Hollywood, if you know what I'm saying. You know, you look at a lot of the talented actors in the African American community, they all had some great things to say about him. I've seen Billy D. Williams talk about him. I've seen both Felicia Rashad and her sister Debbie Allen talk about him. A lot of people that worked with him on stage on Broadway talked about him. even I believe even Denzel said some things about it. But when I look at the greats, you know, you got your Sidney Poitier, you got your Denzel, you got your Morgan Freemans, your Sam Jacksons, your Viola Davis. James Earl Jones is right up in there. You know, there's so many that I could say they owe a lot to, and being inspired by him. He helped pave that foundation, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that for him, and I'm proud of that for the people who knew him. So Mr. Jones will be missed. James Earl Jones will be missed. He died at the age of 93, and it is now time. I guess what I'll do the rest of the week is watch some movies with James Earl Jones in it, and just hear that "I've been waiting for you, Obi-Wan. The circle is complete." You know, or just listen to him on Lion King as Mufasa, and that one line. There's one intense line that I love so much in Lion King, is when he sees Mufasa. Simba sees him in the afterlife, and he's telling him about why he has to go back, and you know, it's just how he would say, "You are my son." I'm like, it's just like, oh, that gets you. And of course, watch him as Thulsa Doom, even though, you know, he was a cult leader bastard in that. Like, but he performed so well. Even Arnold even said some great things about him. Like Arnold just read Arnold talked about how even though Arnold was the new kid on the block, Mr. Jones always took time to read lines with him, help him, and things like that. Even though Arnold didn't have a lot of lines, Arnold had maybe like 144 lines in that whole movie. No matter what, James Earl Jones took the time to help him and understand, okay, this is your point, this is your cue, this is what you do. I applaud him for that. I appreciate actors like that, veteran actors that do that. They can be in this alpha dog state and be like, I'm not gonna help that guy. I'm not gonna. No, he understood, and I love that about him. I will always love that about him. I love hearing how he got the role of Vader. You know, he said George Lucas was actually trying to get Orson Welles to play the role, and George realized that maybe Orson Welles' voice would just be too recognizable. They wanted kind of a unknown to play it. And sometimes we forget as fans that James Earl Jones didn't meet a lot of the cast members until later in life. I just talked about the Big Bang Theory episode. He and Carrie never met until that episode. They filmed that episode. So it says a lot, because he was off just using his voice while they were off filming. So you see the touching words from like Mark Hamill and things like that. Yeah, calling him, saying goodbye, Dad. It's like, yo, that's the kind of respect you want from your fellow thespians. So goodbye, Mr. Jones. You will never be forgotten, especially in the geek community. We're always gonna talk about you in some shape or form, because whenever, especially in the geek community, whenever we think of Darth Vader, yeah, we can remember the guys who embodied the character, but it's that voice. Who voiced the character? Who was the overarching voice that gave that character the menacing but regal appeal? James Earl Jones. And with that being said, guys, have a good day. And to James Earl Jones, your legend will never die. You will live on forever. Y'all take care.